Hello, everybody, and welcome to the channel. And we're getting ready to play opening day in Baltimore in the 1998 pre 1961 Bats League. And Kansas City comes to town to take on the Orioles. And leading off playing left field is Damon. Batting second on the catching is Porter. Batting third playing center field is Wilson. Batting fourth playing first base is Sweeney. Batting fifth playing right field is Cohen's. Batting sixth playing shortstop is Washington. Batting seventh playing third base is BRET. Batting eighth playing second base is Merrifield. Batting ninth and on the mound for Kansas City is SABERHAGEN. And now for the hometown Baltimore Orioles. Leading off playing second base is Roberts. Batting second playing right field is McNally. Batting third playing shortstop is Ripken. Batting fourth playing center field is Anderson. Batting fifth playing left field is Frank Robinson. Batting sixth playing first base is Powell. Batting seventh playing third base is Brooks Robinson. Batting eighth doing the catching is Hoyles. And batting ninth and on the mound for the Orioles is McNally. Let's get down here to Camden Yards and get this game started. We'll have Johnny Damon leading off. This is Johnny's 2000 season. He batted .327 with 16 homers and 88 RBIs in 2000. Going up against Dave McNally. And this is McNally's 1968, the year of the pitcher season. He was 22-10 with a 1.95 ERA. And here's the pitch to Johnny. That's going to be a swing and a miss right away. McNally starts off with a strikeout to start this game. So one down here in the top of the first. And Darrell Porter comes to the plate. And this is Porter's 1979 season. He batted .291, 20 homers, and 112 RBIs. And that's going to be another swing and a miss. So McNally right now has got his good stuff going here early. Back-to-back strikeouts. Can he strike the side up? Willie Wilson comes to the plate. And in 1980, he batted .326, 3 homers, and 49 RBIs. And this is the first player I've ever seen have a speed of 20 in Apba. Crazy, folks. Speed of 20. And that's going to be a ground ball down the short. And that'll do it. 1, 2, 3 goes the Kansas City. And we go to the bottom of the first. We'll have Roberts, McNally, and Ripken due up here against Bret SABERHAGEN. And Brian Roberts in 2005 batted .314 with 18 homers and 73 RBIs. And this is SABERHAGEN's 1989 season. He was 23-6 with a .216 ERA. And here's the pitch from SABERHAGEN. And that's going to be a double in the right field. So Brian Roberts right away unloads here and gets a lead-off double. So Roberts is in scoring position. That brings up Nick Markakis. And Nick in 2006, he batted .306 with 20 homers and 87 RBIs. He's got a runner down at second. Can he drive him in and give the Orioles an early lead here? And that's going to be a ground ball down the short. 62-9 might be fielding column 2. And it is. And he's going to look the runner back to second. Fire over to first. And now there's one down, and Roberts still at second. That brings up Cal Ripken Jr. And Jr. in 1991 batted .323, 34 homers, and 114 RBIs. And that's going to be blasted in the left field. And that's going to be another double, and that's going to score Brian. And just like that, it is 1-0 Baltimore. here in the Charm City. And now that'll bring up Brady Anderson. And in 1996, Brady batted .297 with 50 homers and 110 RBIs. He's got Ripken down there at second. Can they get a 2-0 lead here? And that's going to be against the righty. 17 on an 8. That's going to be a ground ball down the second. 56 and an 8 might be fielding column 3. And it is fielding column 2. And the runner will get down to third. Oh, wait a second. With one out, that's going to be a pop-up down in the shallow left field. BRET makes the catch for out number 2. So Ripken's still down at second now with 2 outs, and the Orioles up 1-0 for Frank Robinson. And in 1966, Robinson batted .316, 49 homers, and 122 RBIs. And that's going to be popped up down the second. And that'll end the inning, but the Orioles score 1 on the RBI double from Ripken and take a 1-0 lead. I'll tell you, the first one to get to the 7th inning with the lead in this game is probably going to win, because these bullpens are lights out for both teams. As you can see, Baltimore's upcoming schedule, they got 2 more games here in Baltimore against Kansas City, and then Detroit comes to town for a 3-game, at least a 3-game series. So we get to the top of the second. We got Sweeney, Collins, and Washington due up. And in 2000, Sweeney batted .333, 29 homers, and 144 RBIs. And that's going to be another swing and a miss. I tell you, McNally's on a roll here early, folks. That is already his 3rd strikeout. Brings up Al Collins. And Al, in 1977, batted .312 with 23 homers and 112 RBIs. And that's going to be the first base hit of the game for the KC. That's a base hit in the right field. Nick gets over, holds him to a single. That brings up Washington now with 1 out and a runner down at first. And UL in 1982 batted .286. He had 10 homers and 60 RBIs. And that's going to be a ground ball down the short. And they'll get the runner out at second. So that'll be a 6-4 put out. Washington's down there at first now. And he may take off here. That'd be a 6-24 with BRET up. 24. 2 outs to get him in scoring position. They're going to send UL because they don't have a lot of pop with this team. They're going to have to get people in scoring position. So what they say, it's a 30 minus 6, a 24, 46 or lower, he says. And they throw him out. Chris Hoyles throws him out trying to steal second, and that's the end of the second. We go to the bottom of the second. It's still 1-0 Baltimore. And we got Boog Powell, Brooks Robinson, and Chris Hoyles due up here. And Boog in 1969, he batted .304, 37 homers, and 121 RBIs. And that's going to be a rare play, a 37 and a 54 on a 37. And that's going to be a 24, a team. Let's see what they are. So 5, 13, 15, 18, 26, 30, 26, 29, 31, 34. So they'll be fielding column 1. That's going to be a fly ball out the left field. Johnny's got it for out number 1. 1 up and 1 down here in the bottom of the second. And up to the plate now steps Mr. Brooks Robinson. And Brooks in 64 batted .317, He had 28 homers and 118 RBIs. See if Brooks can get aboard here. And that's going to be against the righty, a 20. And that's going to be a fly ball in the left field again. Out the left, and again, Damon makes the catch. You might want to pick on somebody else. Can Damon tie a record set by many and have 3 putouts in 1 inning? Chris Hoyles in 1993 batted .310, 29 homers and 82 RBIs. And that's going to be a ground ball down the second. And that'll end the inning. The Orioles go down 1, 2, 3. We get to the top of the third. It's still 1-0 Baltimore. We got BRET, Merrifield, and SABERHAGEN due up. And like I said, in BRET in 1980, batted .390, 24 homers and 118 RBIs. And that's going to be against the lefty, 9. And that'll make him a 30. That'll be a fly ball out to Brady Anderson for out number 1. 1 up and 1 down here in the third. And Merrifield comes up now. And he batted .302 with 16 homers and 74 RBIs in 2019. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. And Dave is just blowing him away here, folks. It's 4th strikeout of this game. And up to the plate now steps BRET SABERHAGEN. And here's the pitch to SABERHAGEN. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Markakis and right. And Kansas City goes down in order. To the bottom of the third we go. We got McNALLY due up, followed by the top of the order in Robinson and Markakis. And Dave in 1968 batted a .128. He did have 3 homers and 10 RBIs, so you got to be careful not to groove one to him. We don't need no stinking DH. You guys know that. And that's going to be against the righty, 15, and that's going to be a deep fly ball in the right field. Al's back near the track, makes the catch. And BRET takes a sigh of relief. Dave almost got all of that one, folks. That was close. And that brings up Brian Roberts. He doubled and came around the score back in the first only run of the game. And that's going to be a base on balls. Brian trots on down to first. And that brings up Nick Markakis. And Nick, he grounded out the short his first time up. 1 down with Roberts down at first. And that's going to be against an 18. That's going to be a ground ball down the second. And they're going to get the runner out at second on a 4-6 put out. Now Markakis is down at first for Cal Ripken. And Ripken doubled his first time up and drove in the only run of the ball game. And that's going to be a 39, a pitcher, 2 and a 12. And runner called off first. How about that? Nick Markakis gets picked off. And that'll end the inning. We go to the top of the 4th. It's still 1-0 Baltimore. We got the top of the order due up here. Damon, Porter, and Wilson. And Johnny's 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Brian at second. Over to Boog for out number 1. Here comes Darrell up now. And he's 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. And that's going to be a ground ball, I think, out in front of the plate. Yes, it is. And that's going to be a nice play by Chris Hoyles. He fires down the first for out number 2. Gets his counterpart out. Brings up Willie Wilson here. He grounded out the short his first time up. And that's going to be a swing and a miss, and he strikes him out. I I think Dave struck out a batter in every inning. And that'll do it. To the bottom of the fourth we go. And we got Ripken, who was up at the plate when Nick got picked off, followed by Anderson and Robinson, the Frank type. Like I said, Cal doubled his first time up and drove in a run. And that's going to be against the righty, 21 and a 9. So what that was, yep, 21 and a 9. That's going to be a swing and a miss. He strikes Ripken out. And that is the first strikeout of the game for SABERHAGEN. That brings up Brady Anderson now. Anderson popped up the third his first time up. That's going to be a ground ball down the second. So 2 quick outs here in the fourth. And it's up to Frank Robinson to do some damage here. And Robinson popped up the second his first time up. That's going to be a base on balls. Frank trots on down the first. Let's see if Big Boog Powell can do something here. And Powell flew out to left field his first time up. And that's going to be 2 balls and no strikes on him. Let's see if he can do some damage with this 2-0 pitch. And that's going to be a ground ball down the first. 61. And that's going to be a single in the right field. So Boog gets a single. That's first and second. And 2 outs. So Powell keeps the inning alive. And up to the plate steps Brooks Robinson. And Brooksy, he flew out the left his first time up. And that's going to be a ground ball down the second. And that'll end the inning. Orioles strand 2 to the top of the fifth we go. We got the big boys due up here. Sweeney, Cowens, and Washington. And Sweeney, he struck out his first time up against Dave. Dave's got 5 strikeouts through 4 innings. And that's going to be a fly ball out the left field. Frank makes the catch for out number 1. And Al steps up to the plate. And Al, he's got the lone hit for Kansas City, a single back in the second. And that's going to be well hit. Let's see where this one goes. Al's the only one that's figured out Dave today, it looks like. And that ball is blasted in the left center. And they're chasing it. And Al's turning for third. And that brown-eyed handsome man's in there with a 1-out triple, folks. That'll bring the tying run down the third, 90 feet away. And Baltimore is going to bring the infield in. UL is 0 for 1. He hit into a fielder's choice and then got caught stealing. Here's the pitch to Washington. And a 35-9 against the lefty. It's going to make him a 13 on a 9. And that's going to be a ground ball down the third. Nope, that's going to be a pop-up down the third. And Brooks makes the catch in the dirt for out number 2. Now George BRET's up with the runner still 90 feet away. George flew out the center his first time up. That's going to be a ground ball down the short. 62 and a 10. It's fielding column 2. And that's going to be a safe on air. Runner scores an E6 on Ripken. And the tying run scores, folks. An unearned run ties this ball game up at 1 apiece. Now you got BRET down at first with 2 outs. So they go ahead, run at first. And Mary fields up. He struck out his first time against Dave. And that's going to be a ground ball down the short. Ripken picks this one cleanly, fires over the first, but the damage is done by that big error. It's a 1-1 ball game. So we go to the bottom of the fifth. We got the bottom part of the order due up. Hoyles, McNALLY, and then back to the top. Chris is 0 for 1. He grounded out the second. And that's going to be against the righty. 21. And that's going to be a flop ball out to Al for out number 1 and right. See if Dave can do some damage here and try to get that run right back. Dave is 0 for 1. He flew out the deep right his last time up. And that's going to be against a righty 15. And we don't need no stinking DH. Dave says that's an infield hit. So Dave gets aboard here with 1 out. Brings up Brian Roberts now. Go ahead run down at first. And Brian's 1 for 1. He doubled back in the first and came around the score and walked in the third. And that's going to be popped up down to short. Washington makes the catch for out number 2. So it's up to Nick Markakis here. Keep this inning alive. And Nick is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and reached on a fielder's choice. And that's going to be against an 18. And that's going to be a ground ball back to the mound. Brett's got it. He tosses it over to Sweeney. And the Orioles strand 1. To the top of the 6th we go. Still a 1-1 ball game. We got SABERHAGEN. Then the top of the order and Damon and Porter due up. Brett's 0 for 1. He flew out the right his first time up. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. And Dave strikes him out for out number 1. 6th strikeout of the game for Dave. And that brings up Johnny. He is 0 for 2. Struck out and grounded out. And that's going to be another swing and a miss. So he struck Johnny out twice. And can he strike the side out, folks? And Darrell Porter's up. He's 0 for 2. He struck out and grounded out to the catcher. And that's going to be a good morning, good afternoon, and good night. He strikes the side out, folks. 1, 2, 3 goes the Kansas City Royals. We go to the bottom of the 6th in a 1-1 game. Ripken with that big error has cost him so far. See if he can make up for it. He has drove in the only run of the game for Baltimore, though. And here's the pitch to Cal. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Washington. He fires over to first for out number 1. Here comes Brady Anderson. And Brady's 0 for 2. He's popped up and grounded out. And that's going to be against the 17. That's going to be an infield hit for Brady. He gets a board here. Gets the go-ahead run. I didn't want that going in the left. Wanted an infield hit. Now we'll redo that. Make it an infield hit. So Brady's aboard here to go ahead run down at first. Frank Robinson at the plate. And Frank is 0 for 1. He did walk back in the 4th. And that's going to be a ground ball down short. And a 62 and a 9. And that's going to be fielding column 2. And they're going to get the runner out at second. 6-4 put out that puts Robinson down at first now with 2 outs. And can Boog Powell do some damage here in this tie ball game? Powell is 1 for 2. He had a single back in the 4th. And that ball is high. How far is it going to go? That is the question, folks. How far is this ball going to travel? And kiss it goodbye. Boog Powell has just hit a homer over that right field fence near the warehouse and has given the Orioles a 3-1 lead here, folks. And now we got 2 outs and Brooks Robinson up with nobody on. And Brooksy is 0 for 2. He has flown out and grounded out. And that's well hit by Brooks Robinson. And all of a sudden, SABERHAGEN looks like he has hit the wall. And that ball is high. That ball is far. That's back-to-back homers, folks. And they're getting the bullpen up in a hurry now. So that ball leaves the yard out in left field for Brooks. And all of a sudden, what was a tie game now a 4-1 lead. And Chris Hoyle struts to the plate. Chris is 0 for 2. Can they go back-to-back against SABERHAGEN here? And no, that's going to be a pop-up down the short. Washington's got it. And that'll end the inning. But the Orioles score 3 on 2 homers. The big one by Boog Powell. And take a 4-1 lead going into the 7th. McNally's going to pitch here. He's got a 2-hitter going with 8 strikeouts. But they'll get the bullpen up in a hurry if anybody gets on, that's for sure. You got Wilson, Sweeney, and Cowens due up. And Willie's 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Brooks. And the human vacuum cleaner throws over to first for out number 1. And to the plate now comes Mike Sweeney. And Sweeney's 0 for 2. He struck out and flown out. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Frank and left. 2 quick outs here in the top of the 7th. And Al Cowens is up now. And Al is the only one that's figuring it out, McNally. He's got both hits in this game. He's got a single in the 2nd, tripled in the 5th, and came around to score the only run for KC. And a 36, that'll be a walk. So Sweeney's aboard here with 2 outs for Washington. See if UL can keep this inning alive. He's 0 for 2. He's grounded into a fielder's choice and popped up and got caught stealing. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Brady. That'll end the inning. So the walk doesn't cost them. We make it to the 7th inning stretch. It's a 4-1 Baltimore lead. And the question is, do we pitch hit here for McNally and try to score some runs? But Dave's a damn good hitting pitcher, and he's pitching a hell of a game. And do we take SABERHAGEN out? That's another question. SABERHAGEN is due up 4th in the 8th. So we'll wait here, and we'll let BRET pitch, and we'll let McNally bat. And Dave's 1 for 2. He did single back in the 5th. And he gets a hold of this one, folks. That ball is high. That ball is far. Kiss it goodbye. Dave McNally has just launched one into right field. Well, let's make sure here. That'll be a 15. Yep, that ball is gone, folks. Dave McNally turns on that and hits a home run off of BRET SABERHAGEN. I said you couldn't prove one, and that might just be it for BRET. Let's see who they're going to go to. Quisenberry is going to come out of the bullpen, I believe. Let's see here. Is it going to be Quisenberry? Who we got coming up? We got the lefties and all coming up, so it's not going to be Quisenberry. We're not bringing in the righty. We'll bring in a lefty probably. Bringing in a lefty would be my guess here.
McNALLY.
Let's see who they want to bring in here. What lefties do they got in the bullpen? Take a look here. Got Steve McNALLY. That's about it, ain't it? Yep, so McNALLY's going to come into the ball game here as BRET SABERHAGEN has hit the wall. So McNALLY will come in, try to get him through this inning. against these lefties with nobody out. SABERHAGEN's giving up 3 homers here late in the game. And then see what year this is for Steve. In 1976, he was 5-5, 10 saves with a 2.32 ERA. Steve McGorry was. He'll be facing now Roberts, McCagus, and Ripken. And Brian's 1 for 2. He doubled, came around the score in the first. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Wilson in center. That's for the first out of the inning. Now you got Nick McCagus up. And Nick is 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice and hit into a force play. And that's going to be a fly ball back to center field again. You want to try to hit it somewhere else. Wilson's one of the best fielding outfielders there is. That brings up Cal Ripken now. Ripken's 1 for 3. He had that RBI double back in the first. And that's going to be a ground ball down to his counterpart, Washington. He fires over to Sweeney, and that'll do it. But the home run by Dave McNally makes it a 5-1 ball game. So we go to the top of the 8th, and we got Brett Merrifield in a pinch hitter for Steve. And Brett's 0 for 2. He has flown out and reached on an error. And that's going to be a base on balls. You don't want to start doing that. That'll get the bullpen up here. And there you got Merrifield up. He's 0 for 2. He is struck out and grounded out. Runner down at first, and Kansas City trailing by 4. That's going to be a fly ball out to Nick. That'll be out number 1. Let's see who's going to come off the bench here. Pitch hit for Steve. And let's see what righty's going to come off the bench here. Do we want to put somebody in? The question is, do we want Pomp or do we want somebody that can get on base? That is the question. They still need, some more base runners, don't they? So I think Kevin Seitzer is going to come in to pitch hit. Instead of going with the big bats, I'll go with Kevin here. I didn't want to do that. One thing also I wanted to do here, let's see here. Go to options here. Pitchers, the pitch hit, and pitch run. We're going to turn that to true. There we go. Now, okay. And who we looking for? Kevin here. There he is. So Kevin's going to come in here and pitch hit. And in 1987, Kevin hit .323, 15 homers and 83 RBIs. There's one out here in the top of the 8th. And Brett down at first in a 5-1 ball game. Orioles are winning. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Anderson in center field. He camps under it for out number 2. We're back to the top of the order, and Johnny Damon. See if Damon can get something going here with this runner at first. He's 0 for 3. He has struck out twice and grounded out. Can Dave give him the old hat trick here? And that's going to be a ground ball down to Brian. He tosses it over to Boog. And that'll end the inning. In Kansas City, Strands 1. We go to the bottom of the 8th. You got the lefty righty. It really don't matter. There's nothing but righties in the bullpen. And I think Montgomery's going to come out of the bullpen here. Try to keep this a 4-run game. So where's Jeff at? There he is. And in 1989, Jeff was 7-3 with 18 saves and a 1.37 ERA. He'll be facing Anderson, Robinson, and Powell here in the bottom of the 8th. And Brady's 1 for 3. He singled back in the 6th. And that's going to be a well-hit ball by Anderson. Let's see what happens with this one in the Baltimore sky. And that ball is ripped in the right field. That's going to be a leadoff double by Brady. So Orioles already making some noise here in the 8th, trying to add some more runs to this game. And Frank Robinson's up. He's 0 for 2. He did walk back in the 4th. And that's going to be a, let's see what the infield is here. 8, 9, 14, 23, 31, 34. I think that's fielding column 2. 34 infield is. I believe 34 infield. Yep, that's going to be a fielding column 2. And that's going to be a pop up behind home plate. Porter makes the catch for out number 1. And that'll bring up Boog Powell, who hit that 2-run homer his last time up. He is 2 for 3. He singled in the 4th and then hit that 2-run homer in the 6th. Here's the pitch to Boog. And that's going to be a ground ball down the 2nd. A 62 on an 8. It's probably fielding column 3. Nope, barely column 2. Barely column 2. And that's going to be a pop-up down to BRET at 3rd. Now there's 2 outs. And Anderson still down at 2nd. And up to the plate now is Brooks Robinson, who followed Boog Powell's homer with a homer of his own. He homered back in the 6th. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Johnny. That'll end the inning. So Montgomery gives up the leadoff double, but it goes nowhere. We go to the top of the 9th in a 5-1 ball game. You got Porter, Wilson, and Sweeney due up here against Dave. Dave's trying to get the complete game here. So let's see what happens here. And Porter is 0 for 3. He has struck out twice and grounded out. And that ball is high. Let's see how far this one travels. Kiss it goodbye, folks. And that might just be it for Dave. A home run by Porter might just chase him out of this game. We'll mess around here. And the big boy's coming out of the bullpen. Zach Britton is going to come out of the bullpen and try to lock this game down. And try to let Dave go to distance. But here comes the closer, Zach Britton. And just look at this card here, folks. It is crazy. Zach is a 28 and XYZH. Can't get much better than that, that's for sure. McNALLY does a hell of a job, though. A 3-hit, 2-run game, but they're not wasting any time here. That's what they got Zach out there in that bullpen for. He'll be facing Wilson, Sweeney, and Cowens here. Let's see here. Against the lefty. And Wilson's 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice and struck out. And that's going to be a 25 against an 8. Is that what that was? Yep. An 8. That's going to be a fly ball out to Brady for out number 1. And now you got Mike Sweeney up. And Sweeney's 0 for 3. He struck out and flown out to Frank Robinson twice. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Zach strikes him out for out number 2. And Al Cowens comes up to the plate now. He was the only real guy besides Porter to figure him out. He's got 2 out of the 3 hits. Let's see what he does against Britain. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Nick. That's going to end the inning. And the Orioles win 5-2. Darryl hit that homer. And the Orioles didn't mess around and brought Zach in. Let's take a look now at this box score for opening day here in Baltimore. And Kansas City, 2 runs on 3 hits and no errors. Orioles, 5 runs, 9 hits, and 1 costly error that didn't cause a run to score. Al Cowens was the only real bright spot for the Kansas City Royals. He was 2 for 3 with the triple. Came around the score. Darryl Porter with the homer. And they was very efficient with runners in scoring position. They was 1 for 1. Only left 3 men on base. McNALLY did a hell of a job. You had Anderson was 2 for 4. Boog Powell was 2 for 4 with that 2-run homer. You had Powell, Robinson, and don't forget McNALLY, 2 for 3 with a homer of his own. The Orioles were 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. They left 5 men on base. BRET SABERHAGEN picks up the loss, 6 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, walked 2, struck out 1, and gave up the 3 homers. And Steve comes in, pitches an inning, and Montgomery comes in, pitches 1 inning, gives up 1 hit. And McNALLY pitches 8+, gets the win, 3 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned. Walked 2, struck out 8, and gave up the homer there. And Zach comes in, picks up his first save of the year, 1 inning and 1 strikeout. And let's see what the next matchup's going to be in this. It's going to be Palmer for the Orioles against Greinke. Let's make here. And that'll be on April Fool's Day, I believe. Yep. Don't worry, it's not Messina. It's going to be Palmer. I want to thank everybody for stopping by today. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for reminders. And on your way out of Baltimore, hit that like button and leave a comment. Until next time, y'all have a great day and take care.